James Brown. Soul Brother number one, Mr. Dynamite, the man, the legend, the funk, the godfather of soul. Had many names and titles. One main one was for being, and I quote, the hardest working man in show business. James Brown is and will always be considered the greatest of all times. When it comes to funk, music, performances, sample songs, social and civil rights involvement, James Brown's contribution to music is always at the forefront of the list. This man's willingness to master the stage of performances and entertain an audience was incredible and skillful all the time. He would go from 3 to 4 songs within the fanfare of transitions from one song to another with ease, always on the one, which meant there was a heavy accent. In the book, Rock Music Styles, it talks about James Brown's soul style, which was deeply rooted and influenced by gospel music. But his funk style was influenced by polyrhythmic music straight from Africa. The funk. Some might ask, what is funk? Well, the answer is simply James Brown. Even though there were many other artists that were great in their own right, when it came to funk music, James Brown's style of music just stood out and is timeless. Hip-hop artists to this day are still sampling James Brown tunes and being influenced by his music. Michael Jackson and Prince both acknowledged that it was James Brown that influenced them the most in all their performances and dances and the music that they made. James Brown is a concept, a vibration, a dance, he said. It's not me, the man. James Brown is a freedom I created for humanity. He called his group famous before they became famous. He named himself Mr. Dynamite and proclaimed himself as the hardest working man in show business before he had a hit and before the music business knew his name. Music was an emotional charge for the young James Brown. James liked gospel music when he attended church. He also liked big band swing and early rhythm and blues that he heard on the radio and on the jukeboxes. James Brown was influenced by Louis Jordan with his Timpani 5. This was a great inspiration to him. James Brown always was a dancer. He would jump straight into the air and come down doing the splits and then tumble and roll into the splits as if he was doing gymnastics. Bobby thought that James would hurt himself one day. He would see James stand flat-footed, then flip into a split. He told James jokingly, man, you gonna mess around and kill yourself before the show. So now, if you saw the James Brown movie, you would know that there was a certain scene in the movie where James Brown and his group ran up and seized the moment to perform when a certain artist had gone on break. James Brown would gig under any combination of aliases. The crowd went wild and crazy after they took the stage unannounced after Macon's George's own Little Richard had gone on a set break. At the time, Little Richard's manager was so impressed with the group, he took on James Brown and started booking them gigs. Bird recalled, I'd never seen a man work so hard in my whole life. He would go off on what we rehearsed and go into something else. It was hard to keep up, Bird said. Just to let you know, James Brown is my favorite artist of all times. I know I'm supposed to talk about one song, but I love so many of his songs, it was hard for me just to pick one. So I'm going to say one of my favorites is Get Up Off That Thing and Shake Your Money Maker by JB and the Bobby Birds. Just to let you hear a little bit of that, let's play it. Here we go. Everybody ready? Oh, yeah. I just love how James would have the horn section arrangement and the sax solo on this song was grooving so hard. It was awesome. James Brown had the best horn section and bass players in the music business. Big shouts out to Bootsy Collins, which was a teenager at the time. After a long and hard career of performing battling a variety of addictions and battles with the record company executives and just being in the business of one of the most successful R&B and blues, soulful, funk artist having the most incredible bands in the history of music, James Brown called it quits. Brown was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986, received the Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement in 1992, and was a 2003 recipient of the Kennedy Center Honor. James Brown died on Christmas Day in 2006. How ironic, one of his best albums was his Christmas album. We still play that album every year for Christmas. He will always be remembered and be considered the GOAT, the greatest of all times in music history, Mr. James Brown. Thank you.